Welcome everybody from the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. It's great to have you join us today. Once again, we're looking at our urban parking system repository that's been designed and developed in Enterprise Architect. The last few videos we've been looking at various viewpoints from ArchMate, and today we're looking at the application usage viewpoint. So welcome Stephen. I'm looking forward to hearing all about the application usage viewpoint and how we use it in Enterprise Architect.
Thanks for the introduction, Scott, and pleasure to be here. Yes, it's all about the application usage viewpoint, which of course is part of the ArchMate language or framework, which is the de facto language for enterprise architecture modeling, going right from sort of strategic motivation issues right through down to technology. So let's make a start with this. As always, I like to set my perspective. I've been doing some test management earlier, and I'm going to now set my perspective on ArchMate. So I drop down this, the list of perspective sets pops up. I know that I'm doing enterprise architecture, go into that set, and it's ArchMate that I want to concentrate on. The tool sets my focus into ArchMate, and I can see the patterns that exist here, and I can expand this one and look at some of the different patterns. There's the application usage viewpoint. We'll click on that, and you can see that there are a number of yellow boxes indicating that they're business elements, and then we've got these aqua boxes which are in the application layer. So as always, a user can get productivity gains by pressing the create model button and injecting this existing model right into your repository to start work and renaming, and you can use this document here to get an understanding of the kind of things that you're able to do, including the tools and references and help system that you can use. Scott, as always, I like to do things from first principles. So I'm going to close the builder page and start with a blank canvas. So I'll close that. I go over to my repository and I'm looking for a place to put these. So I'm going to click on the enterprise node there, and you can see that that opens up the enterprise architecture, business architecture, and application architecture there. So what I'm going to do is select that one, and I'm going to create a new package there, and it's going to be called the application usage viewpoint. And we'll click OK. The package has been entered into the browser. I'm going to use the little arrow keys on the browser toolbar to move that down below the other viewpoints. Having done that, I like, as always, to put some notes into the notes window here that describe what the viewpoint's about. And we've been through this in other videos. This has come from the specification, and you can see there that we've got notes and a reference to the ArchMate specification. That helps people understand, if they're not familiar with the specification, what the viewpoint is about. So the application usage viewpoint describes how applications are used to support one or more business processes. So we can see from that we're expecting to see, both applications and business processes and some other elements associated with them. So let's make a start. We can select that package in the browser, click on the new diagram item here in the toolbar, and we get this window up, which is the model builder page here, and we can see now that we've got a number of different diagram types that we can put in. But underneath these, if we expand these out, we've got some views that allow us to select a particular view. And this one here, the basic application usage, is the one that we want. And what that's going to do is restrict the toolboxes to the elements that are applicable to this particular viewpoint, giving you kind of a productivity gain, because you don't have to go off and try and research or remember from your, from when you did your certification, which elements go onto this.
Enterprise Architect helps make it a bit easy for you by only providing the tools that you need. Yeah,
exactly, Scott. So let's go create diagram. You can see it there, and you can see up here, the focus is on the applications here, and you can see those toolboxes. We've got active structure and behavioral elements there for applications, and then down here we've got these application usage ones as well, which you can see are all business elements. So let's start with an interface. So it's kind of a starting point, an application interface. We're going to scroll up into the toolbar, and there's the application interface. I'll just put that onto the canvas there, put a name in it, and as always, let's put some notes in there that describe what that parking reservation service is. I have on my layout ribbon here, I have my presentation mode selected. Come back to that in a minute, and I'll turn that off. So we're back without the element being selected, and we'll reference that a little bit later in the video. So the other thing is, what is actually what's doing this this work of this interface? So how is that interface realized? So what we're going to do is drop an application on there, and we're going to call it the mobile parking app, I think. So this is a smartphone application that has been developed. It's implementing that parking reservation service. And that might be implemented in a number of different ways. You might be able to have web access. You might have, for special events, you might have a call center. But this diagram is focusing on that. To connect the elements up, we can just use the quick linker. We can, of course, use the toolbox as well. But the quick linker is much quicker, and it also, Scott, allows us to be told, if you like, what relationships are applicable here. There are a number of relationships applicable between these two elements, but it's the realize one that we want to use. And users may choose different relationships, it's up to them, but I want to use this realize as saying that the mobile parking app realizes that parking reservation
I'm assuming the
service.
quick linker helps you maintain what the standard says and only use the correct connections.
Exactly right. So it's there like your mentor, keeping you honest, making sure that you're using the right relationships. And always remember, Scott, this is a language. You're creating a story. This is a narrative where you're communicating. Enterprise Architect has been built from the ground up as a collaboration platform, and nothing in my mind is more important than obeying the rules. When we speak our natural languages, whether it's German or Spanish or Thai, we use conventions, grammatical conventions,
yep.
And if we don't use those, then people don't understand what we mean. And it goes the same with these languages as well, including ArchMate. So if you use the wrong connector, then you're probably not telling the story that you wanted to tell, and the result could be the misunderstanding by the people that are looking at the diagram. Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on. And what we want to do is relate this to a business process. So let's do that, and we'll drag the business process from the toolbox, and we'll call this one we put find and reserve parking. So let's do that. Find and reserve parking. Now, some people will say, it's not good practice to have an and in one of these processes. In the ArchMate world, in this world, I don't think it hurts at all. If you were developing business process diagrams that are with using BPMN, then I would suggest that you didn't do that. But at this level, we're up at a much higher level, and it's permissible to do that. So let's have a look and see what kind of relationship that we want to have between these two elements. And again, we use Enterprise Architect to do that for us. And the one I want to choose is serving. So there are other ones that I could put there, but that's the one I want to have. And the other thing I probably want to have is a role. So what role is doing this. We need some notes in for that process there. So let's put some notes in. And I like to do this as I'm going along, Scott. It's very easy just to forget about putting the notes in and then finish the diagram, and then people don't know exactly what the meaning of some of these elements is. So the other thing we're going to put in now is a role. So we have the choice of a role or an actor. I like to use the role in this circumstance as it's more general. Actors perform roles, and so the role is the actual critical thing that we want. I'm going to call it a parking user. Now, in other parts of our model, we've used the word motorist, but you don't need to use the same words in these type of diagrams. These diagrams might be aimed at a different audience, and you can always relate the two elements to each other. So that's the parking user, and I'll put a relationship in between these two elements again, and use the quick linker again, and I'll say assign to there. So Scott, they're the main elements that are in the diagram. I'm going to get you to create some of your time travel magic and get you to come back in a few seconds after I've finished the diagram.
Well, welcome back. We've done a little bit of time travel magic, and we now have our completed application usage viewpoint diagram. So, Stephen, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about what are some of the things that we've covered in this usage diagram now.
Yeah, thanks for that, Scott. Glad to be back. You can see that we've elaborated this diagram and added a lot more application services, and the related business processes. So going from that level, let's have a look at this. I'm just going to select all of these ones here, which are the application services. Each one of those has a application component that's related to it, and that doesn't always end up being a one-to-one relationship. You could have relationships between multiple of these. So a mobile app, for example, could be related to a number of different interfaces, and an interface could be related to multiple components. The next layer up, so we've got those application services, the application components, and I'm going to skip over this next layer here, which is this data layer. You can see we've obviously transitioned into another layer when we come into these yellow elements. So these are the business processes, and they are related to the application service. You may want to put the application component directly related to the business process. It's up to you. I like to have the service in between there. And we've got a layer of roles. And again, you could relate particular actors to these roles. But the other thing that we've got going on is all of these data elements or data objects. So they're related to both the business process and also the parking reservation service, and then by extension that would be related to the app, and so a developer could easily see that that's what's going on there. So it's a reasonably extensive diagram, and you can follow the path through from somewhere like this process here, the process payment.
Can you perhaps use pan and zoom to zoom
exactly,
in
Scott,
and show us that bit?
Yeah, sure, Scott, that's a good idea. So I can use the pan and zoom window and then just work through these elements. I can of course also use layers and filters to filter out some parts of the model. So I'm not going to do that, but I encourage people to look at the layers and the layers video and the filtering video to see how you can filter out particular things out of the model. So that's useful. And Scott, this might be overwhelming to some people who are not that familiar with ArchMate and this viewpoint, but remember we have our team library, and if we go up to this start ribbon up here, we can see that the model library there is in the collaborate panel. Remembering Enterprise Architect has been built from the ground up as a collaboration platform, so we've got multiple different users modeling. We've got strategy people and project managers and testers and in this case enterprise architects, but there'll be a lot of other roles that will read this. So let's click on the library icon there in the collaborate panel, and you can see here that we've got the ArchMate specification here. And so I'm going to click on that and show you what happens there. We have seen this in other videos, but I just want to reiterate it now so that people can see it. Very useful thing to do. I'm going to bring that in now, and you can see that ArchMate spec has popped up in my browser. I'm going to do another thing, Scott. I've entered this reference cards here as well. I'm going to double click on that and again bring that window back into view, and that's just loading up in my browser there, and we can see that we'll see that dragging that in, and there you can see the ArchMate 3.2 specification, which has got these cards here that will help you understand the icons there. And just to make people aware of that, we haven't been using these iconic representations. We covered it in an earlier video, but let's just see how that works. I'll drag this off the screen for a minute, and if I wanted to, I can create this process here in a different iconic view. So I'll do that, and say appearance there, use rectangular notation, turn that checkbox off, and you can see now it goes into a different representation.
It's like shape.
Yeah, same with this one here, the mobile app, for example, do exactly the same thing. And there might be times when you want to change all the diagrams to this style, or you may want to just change some elements to let people know that that they're a particular icon. So the other thing I like to do, Scott, is just to check that I've got all my elements with notes in them properly. I can click out this inline specification manager, and you can see that all of the elements I have got notes, and I can use this to navigate through my diagram, if you like, and I could, put that onto a different monitor, close the toolbox down, move this over, go into wide view if I wanted to, and you can then see that I can just read these as I'm going along. And I can also, pump this out to documentation if I want to. The other thing, Scott, just before we go, we have done this in all the other videos, and I just want to do it in this one. We can drag a legend on, the ArchMate connector legend, and put that on, and there we have the legend, and it's going to color the legends. You can do that with the elements as well, and there are times when you might want to do that, but when there are multiple colors being used already by ArchMate, showing the business layer and the other layers, it's not something that I prefer to do, but you could easily create a legend that, picked out and colored.
It's something you might do in UML, but for ArchMate, it's easy to see using colors what the business elements are and how they all group together.
Yeah. So it is the colors do tell you what the layers are, but within a particular layer, you can see we've got 3 different objects in that aqua layer, which is the application layer. So it is relatively easy in my mind to be able to see which ones are which. But if you wanted to, you could put that legend on and create a different color scheme for the different elements. But again, Scott, this application usage viewpoint is a really important one. It's spanning between business and applications, and showing the relationship between applications and the services, and the business processes and the roles, and also the data objects that are either consumed or created by the processes or the applications.
No, that's fantastic. Well, thanks again, Stephen, for your contribution. It's been great to see this diagram come together. As usual, if you've enjoyed this video, we encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. If you have any questions about ArchMate, or in particular the application usage viewpoint, you can reach out to Stephen using his credentials, the LinkedIn credentials, and the website credentials in the video description below. So thank you, Stephen, and look forward to future videos.
Always a pleasure to be here, Scott.